Is the largest purely commercial building by area in the world. It has 25 floors, 43 elevators, 73 football fields worth of office space, and over 7 miles of hallways. With 2 city blocks, it even used to have its own zip code, and it still does have its own train stop, so it is just, it's a big building. Now, a wholesale facility back in the days of Marshall Field. It also used to be owned by the Kennedys. Yes, those Kennedys. And nowadays it has tech offices and a bunch of other super cool things. And another cool thing that I want you all to check out if you're here at night, perhaps tonight after this tour, is something called Art on the Mart. Art on the Mart. So you see that very sophisticated projector system. That projector system will project digital animated art onto the entire face of the things from the art at the planetarium. I've even seen theater being projected. It's really cool, and it happens every night at 9 and 9:30. So you can come, even tonight you can probably make it. You can come down to this lovely river wall and sit down there and enjoy some beautiful art on the Mart. It's different every single night, so it's always something new. Now really quick, these you see these floating gardens over here to your right? These tall stalks of grass. Only 10 species of fish. Nowadays we have nearly 80. So just like Chicago is resilient, so too are its fish.
I didn't know his hand was up there.
Over there on the right, you've got the LaSalle Wacker building. That's what I like to call the Art Deco Castle. And then next to the Art Deco Castle, you have 111 West Wacker. Now, 111 West Wacker, another perfect example of the contextualism style, because those patios with those pillars, they're all at the heights of neighboring buildings, like the roof line of LaSalle Wacker, the tip of the LaSalle Wacker, and so on. So again, all these contextualism things that I keep mentioning to you, you wouldn't even really notice them if I wasn't directly pointing them out to you. But that is exactly the point of contextualism. It is all about blending in sly, subtle ways. Over on the left, though, you've got the Reed Murdoch Center. The Reed Murdoch is the closest thing we have on the river to something called prairie style. Now, prairie style was popularized by Frank Lloyd Wright, and it was meant to mimic the super wide windows and the organic, earthy color of the building. Whenever I see a prairie style building, I just like to imagine that horizon line and just mellow out. It's a very relaxing style of building to look at. But coming up on your right is going to be a not so relaxing style of building to look at, and it's that short, stout, angry looking building right there, 55 West Wacker. So that is a style called brutalism. Brutalism is nothing but raw, rough concrete. It's like modernism, but on steroids, because it's nothing but an exposed, brute strength exoskeleton of a building. Now that was a style for the turbulent 1960s, and you'll see it a lot in institutional buildings from that time period. Places like banks, courthouses, public university campuses, even prisons, all have that brutalist style. You'll also see it a lot in Washington, D.C., places like governmental buildings there have that type of style there. Coming up on your right is going to be the Leah Burnett building. The Leah Burnett building, that black and gray building there, is home to Leah Burnett, an advertising firm that have created many of your favorite cartoon product characters. People like Tony the Tiger, the Jolly Green Giant, the Keebler Elves, even the Marlboro Man, all created in that building. But next up, we've got that skinny building with that gold topper on it. Almost looks a little bit, it almost looks a little bit like an illuminated bell tower there. That was formerly the Carbide and Carbon building. It is now known as the Country Hotel. And many people think that the top of that building was built to resemble the top of a champagne. Now, people think it was a champagne because that building was built during the height of Prohibition. And so many people think there was this cheeky little protest as Chicagoans drank their way through Prohibition. You have to decide for yourselves. Personally, I do think it's true, because during Prohibition, not much being prohibited here in Chicago. Now that building behind it, that pointy building that has that cool lighting, that's Prudential Plaza. It reminds you of the Chrysler Building, perhaps Liberty Place in Philadelphia, if either of those are familiar to you. People sure do love waving at boats, right? Have you experienced this tonight? People love to wave at other boats. Really quick, London House over there. London House has an amazing rooftop bar. Highly recommend it. Rooftop bar at London House. Check that out. Gorgeous, gorgeous view. Really good drinks. Rooftop bar on London House.
Even with my eyes closed.
Yes, golly.
As you can see, the whole city really transforms from daytime to nighttime, right? You've sort of seen that in action. It was not quite so lit up when we started, and now all the buildings are starting to transform.
We back
But
where
next
we
up, I want to talk
started.
about that tower that is emerging with the flagpole on top. That's the Chicago Tribune Tower. Now, the Tribune Tower is an example of a style called French Gothic Revival. And we call it that
Oh, that's
because
what
that
you're
building was
talking
actually modeled after a 13th century cathedral in Rouen, France.
What
Now,
is
those
it?
Gothic features you see there that I just love are those
The yellow
flying
blue boat.
buttresses.
Oh,
Those are
that's
those
what he was talking
bridges
about.
that form the ornamental crown of the building. Those are called flying buttresses. Now, the Tribune, Chicago Tribune, our major newspaper here,
Sweet.
it left a few years ago, and now they're turning that building into luxury condos, because that is what happens. But behind that building, I'm sure you're looking at that blue onion dome looking building. That's the Intercontinental Hotel. That is a still functioning hotel.
That's what we
It
in,
is
eh?
another art
Huh?
And that
deco
hotel
building.
movie in
No, we in
So I've been talking a lot
Sherrington.
about cathedrals. We have that Spanish cathedral. Now we have this French cathedral. And coming up on your left is going to be
You gotta
another
walk over there that side tomorrow.
Huh?
You gotta walk on that side tomorrow.
cathedral of sorts.
Oh, ain't nobody on that side.
The Apple Store.
Where's the
modern
Apple
cathedral
Store?
to progress and innovation.
Hi.
That Apple Store's glass
We ain't
wall
do this
is
side.
semi-structural,
Yeah,
helping
we
to
ain't
hold
do
up
that
that
side over
fiberglass
there.
roof.
Oh, we on
And
this side.
another little bit of
I
postmodernism
thought we was on
playfulness.
this side.
You'll notice that that roof looks a little bit like an iPad or a MacBook Air. That is the MacBook Air for the Mac Store. But next up, I want to talk about Mvc Tower with that peacock on top. Also a great example of a spire, not an antenna, that's a spire. Now, I know you're all experts by now. You see those deep inset windows, the streamlined vertical lines, that Indiana limestone color. You're like, Art Deco, boom! But this building was actually built in 1989. It's a style called Eco Deco. Really quick on your left, you're gonna see a black building with white antenna. You'll see it for just about 3 seconds. Black building with white antenna, just passing through over there in the
Damn,
distance.
that's 42 years
That black
old.
building with
What?
the white antenna.
That black building you talking about, he
it's
said
called the John
it was
Hancock
built in
Center,
1985,
And it's a
80.
great
Damn,
place.
that's older than you.
Amazing view of the
older.
entire Chicago skyline.
No, I'm older than the building.
I am partial to the Hancock Center because it's also a place where you can get an amazing view of
Damn, you should have. Well,
Michigan.
look at that over there.
Love Bay Lake. I think it's a beautiful body of
They
water.
having
Love
dinner.
looking at it.
Dang, that's
So
nice.
if you're asking me, personal opinion, best view Chicago opinion section of the tour, Hancock Center. Check that view out.
There go our hotel right there. Right there, right there. That's our
Now, here on the
hotel
right,
right
you've got this black
there.
box building with that racing stripe. And behind that, you've got a white building with horizontal curvy fins. So that is Aqua Tower. Now I love Aqua Tower because each unit has its own unique balcony, which makes it look like
They said side
cascading
piece.
waves of water.
It sounded like it said
Now,
side
that is a
piece.
building designed by another local Chicago
Right,
architect
what the
named
hell?
Jeannie Gang. Jeannie Gang, she is a hometown favorite of
no,
mine.
no,
I
no.
think she
That's
designed
our
some of the
hotel.
most beautiful buildings in the city. And she is literally a genius. She was awarded a 2011 MacArthur Genius Grant for her designs.
Hold on, I want
And
to
another
drink
building she
some.
designed is coming up
Oh,
on your
somebody
right.
boat start.
They're very tall,
Damn.
they're very wavy.
Somebody
St.
vote,
Regis
vote.
is where they're at, the St. Regis.
It was the same ghetto girls that was singing earlier. Oh, they both
But it's the
broke.
tallest
That's
tower
jacked
in the
up.
world.
That's like their
Designed
motor
by a
fell off.
woman-led architecture
What?
firm,
Their motor side of the
Studio Gang.
boat.
This
You
is all
lied.
designed once again
Look at
by
this
a local
hotel. Look, look,
architect,
look.
That's the
Jeannie
best.
Gang. Now, if you look at the top of this tower, you will notice a big old illuminated band. You see that big
That's our
band there?
hotel
Well, that is
right
actually
there.
an empty row. And that is called a blow-through floor. A blow-through floor. How it works is, instead of windows and residences, you leave this empty row so that the wind can blow right through the building, stabilizing pressure on the windward side of the building, and thus reducing building sway. This is the third way we have learned here tonight of how you can reduce building sway here in the windy city. Now, while that blow-through floor, it does work, it's an amazing feat of modern engineering, but it was very expensive. It of course cost those developers millions and millions of dollars in lost out condo space to put that blow-through floor in there. But I think even if the developers aren't too happy about it, the residents are going to be more than happy to not get seasick. Now that building
You going
has
past that bridge?
210 hotel rooms, 406 condos, and costs over $1 billion to construct. Now the condos range in price from $1 million for a one-bedroom, nice, to $18.5 million
Yeah,
for a
$1 billion, that's
four-bedroom,
for $1
four-bath penthouse. So again, if you're in the market for that starter home, consider the St. Regis as an option. The next tower I'm going to talk about is the last tower I'm going to talk about, and it's the last tower and lone tower on the lake walls here in Chicago. Moment of towers all along the lakefront. Again, going back to this idea that everybody owns the lake, right? Everyone should have access to our waterways, our river, and our lake. So towers would get in the way of that. So
Ooh,
no
my
towers
hands
are
up.
allowed, except some very, very tricky developers back in the 60s
kinda balled up
were
with
able to
dang
take advantage of some loopholes in those zoning laws
Baby
that have now since been closed. So that will forever be the lone tower on the lakefront. But as you can imagine, very popular place to live. So some past famous residents include Halle Berry, Tom Cruise, Alice Cooper, Scottie Pippen, Sammy Sosa, and allegedly Oprah used to love to visit the restaurant at the top of Lakefront Tower called
Oh, that's the one. Look, right there. That's the one right there. I told you, Oprah.
With a very fancy view called Seafood.
Yeah.
Now, some Chicago
Right.
facts for you. As of the 2020 census, just released this week, there are about 2.75
Oh, I thought that was Rico.
million people
And sitting in the front.
That will make us the third largest city in the U.S. behind New York and Los Angeles. And we are the city on the lake. We have over 20 miles of lakefront, over 20 steamboat beaches, 5,300 boat slips, and 10 harbors. And one of my favorite things to do on a hot, hot summer day, like it was earlier today,